Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to talk to you about the very first Christmas book that I read this year, which was Lovelight by B.K. Borison, which is this very cozy, festive, small town romance, which typically, I'm not gonna lie to you, I do not enjoy a small town romance. I tend to find them very cliche, very cringy, but I was swayed by the hype on this one and decided to give it a go, and I am glad that I did. So in this we have our protagonist Stella Bloom, yes that is her real name, and she owns a tree farm, a Christmas tree farm. It's always been her dream to operate a Christmas tree farm, but unfortunately they are in a patch of financial precarity. Her financial situation is something that Stella is keeping under wraps even from her colleagues, and in a bid to keep her farm from closing, she ends up entering a social media contest hosted by a very famous travel Instagrammer. The influencer would come to Lovelight Farms, make some content around the farm and assess it, and if it was chosen as her favourite destination, then Stella would end up winning an enormous cash prize. However, in order to beef up her application and make it more enticing, Stella tells a little bit of a lie and writes that she runs her Christmas tree farm business with her boyfriend, due to the fact that this travel influencer seems to love a bit of a story and especially a bit of romance tied into her travel destinations. And there's only one small issue, which is that Stella doesn't have a boyfriend. First, we see B.K. Borison make a slightly baffling choice, which is for her to ask her friend Beckett. And the reason I say it's baffling is that we spend the first chapter really building up Beckett as a character, and it seems like a little bit of a misdirect, talking about how great Beckett is, how fanciable he is, and when Stella asks Beckett, he immediately shoots her down and is like, why are you asking me this? And so she ends up confiding in Beckett and Layla, who work for her, about the social media contest, but not about the financial situation. And by the end of her spiel, Layla asks her, well, why is it that you were asking Beckett in the first place? Obviously Beckett's not the one that you want to ask. Why would you ask him when you clearly want to ask your best friend and longtime crush Luca? And as a reader, after spending a whole chapter building up Beckett and thinking, oh, I know how this is going to go, Beckett is initially going to say no, but eventually she's going to wear him down, and then it'll be like a reluctant friends to lovers situation, we're then just hit with this bombshell of, wait on a second, who the hell is Luca? I don't know, I thought that was a slightly odd choice, and it kind of made the first chapter also a little bit unnecessary, because eventually we do get round a few chapters later to Stella asking Luca if he will be her fake boyfriend. Luca, being the very supportive friend that he is, agrees, but very quickly into this fake dating, and knowing that Stella already has feelings for him, it's a bit of a surprise, maybe not to the reader, but definitely to Stella, how quickly the lines start to blur between their friendship and their fake romance. And one of the aspects that I do criticise this book for when it comes to the romance is it is so very clear from the get-go that Luca is obviously attracted to Stella, that their friendship has been a bit of a ruse for the fact that he does have feelings. But like, it's to a comical level how long it takes Stella to realise this, and how much she's kind of pushing away her feelings, pushing away any hint from Luca that he's interested, and she's just like, no, why would he fancy me? And I know it's a romance book, I know where it's ultimately going to end, but I did find it a little bit frustrating. And I would honestly say that the romance in this book is, to me, of lesser quality than the other types of love that are present in this book. Because this book, as well as being a friends to lovers romance, is also about Stella's personal journey of self-love, but also understanding and recognising the love of a community that is around her. We find out quite early on in the book that Stella was brought up knowing that she was a second family child. Her father already had a family, ended up cheating on his wife with Stella's mother, and had kind of kept Stella and her mother hidden. However, in the intervening years, especially since Stella's mother died, efforts have been made to kind of mix these two families together. Stella's mother very deeply loved her, but because of their financial situation were never able to really do the quote-unquote proper Thanksgiving and Christmases that they'd always wanted to do. And while Stella's father did acknowledge her eventually, they don't really have much of a relationship. She's starting to get to know his family, but there is definitely strain there. And this kind of unease within her familial relationships definitely bleeds into how she thinks about love, and feeling like she herself is unlovable. There's a lot of sadness when it comes to family in this book. It's also why she kind of buries her feelings about Luca, and feeling like definitely her love must be unrequited. For her entire life, she's wanted that domestic bliss that she's never gotten, and she thinks that she's never going to get. And so this Christmas book, which is meant to be like lovely and cozy, is also tinged with a lot of sadness, which I think is quite realistic to a lot of people's experiences at Christmas. But what Stella ends up having to realise through the book is that she is surrounded by so many people in her community that love her. And this small town is definitely very reminiscent of Stars Hollow in Gilmore Girls. All of these very quirky characters in the town. This community community who are so fiercely protective and loving of Stella, and she's just never quite recognising it. She always keeps these people at a distance because she is so sure that eventually something is going to give and they are going to leave her. And this book is a real journey of her having to let love in, not just romantic but also platonic forms of love, letting her friends help her and to trust that they will be there for her when she needs them. And it's that aspect of this book that really warmed me to it. The romance is absolutely fine, and I did have the warm fuzzy feelings at the end, but it was the community aspect that really kept me reading. So there we go, those are my short little thoughts on Lovelight Farms by BK Borison. Do let me know if you've read this. Alternatively, please let me know about any Christmassy romance reads that you've been picking up recently. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.